Hi, I'm Jordan from Chatamize, and in this video I will show you how you can connect Chatfuel to DialogFlow and use Google's AI in your Messenger chatbot. And the best part of this integration is that you can trigger 4 million requests to DialogFlow and it will only cost you $5 per month. So what we're going to do is the following. When somebody messages your Chatfuel chatbot and Chatfuel does not recognize the input, the default answer will be triggered. And from the default answer, we will send a request to our own server. And that server is the integration between Chatfuel and DialogFlow. So with that server, we send the input from Chatfuel to DialogFlow, and we can check whether it matches with a DialogFlow intent. And when it matches a DialogFlow intent, we can automatically respond with a specific block or flow in Chatfuel. So this tutorial will be split into two parts. First, we will set up the Chatfuel DialogFlow integration on our own server, and second, we will set up the flows in Chatfuel, and I will show you how you can use this integration inside your chatbot. And also, you don't need to code yourself. I've already created the code and you just need to edit some code. So you need to put your Chatfuel API token, for example, there, but you don't need to code anything yourself. So it can be a bit technical at times, but if you just follow my steps, you will be perfectly fine. So for this tutorial, you will need 4 accounts. First, we need a GitHub account because we need to edit the code. Then we need a DigitalOcean account. This will be our server. We need a Google account because we're using DialogFlow. And of course, we need a Chatfuel account. So the first thing that we need to do is copy my code from my GitHub account to your GitHub account. So when you go to my GitHub repository, and I will add the link in the description, you need to copy it. So you can just make a free GitHub account. And when you have done this, you just click on this icon on the top left and then click on New. So now we can create a new repository. So I will call this Chatfuel DialogFlow Integration New. I will set it to private because you will share some information that no one wants to see. So you need to set it to private, and then you need to click on Create Repository. Then if you scroll down, you need to click on Import Code. And under your old repositories clone, you need to fill in my GitHub repository URL, and then you can click on Begin Import. And what this does is that it copies all the files that were in my GitHub repository. So now you see that the importing is complete, so you can just click on this one. And here we have 2 important files. We have the Chatfuel DialogFlow file, and we have the config.json file. And these are the files that we need to edit in this tutorial. So now we need to create our own Google project. So we need to go to console.cloud.google.com, and I will also add this link in the description. And here we need to create a new Google project. So you can just click here in the up bar and then click on New Project. And we will call this Chatfuel Chatbot, and then click on Create. So this will take several seconds before the project is created. And when the project is created, we need to create a service account key. So when you go to this page, and I will also add the link to this page in the description, then you need to scroll down until you see Go to Create Service Account. So you can click on this button. Then we need to select the right project, which is Chatfuel Chatbot. We need to set a service account name, so this will also be Chatfuel Chatbot. We click on Create and Continue. Then we need to select a role, so you can just search for owner. Click on owner, then you have full access. Click on Continue. And we can just skip this step, so you can click on Done. So now the service account is created, so when we click on it, we need to go to Keys, and then click on Add Key. Click on Create New Key and select the JSON type. So just click on Create, and then Google will automatically download a JSON file for you. So we're going to click on this one, And here you have the JSON code that you need to copy. So we can just select all this, copy it. Then if we go back to our GitHub repository, we need to click on config.json. Click here on this pen sign so we can edit the file. And here's what we need to paste. So here we're going to paste this config.json and click on commit changes. I do say that you don't share this key with anyone else, because when they get access to your service account key, they can do anything with your Google account, and that is not something that you want. So the next thing that we need to do is create our own DialogFlow project. So when we go to DialogFlow, which is dialogflow.cloud.google.com, we can click here and then click on create new agent, and I will call this Chatfuel chatbot. I will set the default language to English because we're using English as a language, and we're going to select the thematic bloom, which is the name of my Google project. So this is the Google project we just created, and then we need to click on create. And when the agent is created, we need to go to settings and then copy this project ID. So I'm going to copy this. And then if we go back to our GitHub repository, we go to the main, and then we need to click on this file, the Chatfuel DialogFlow PI file. And also we need to click on edit. So we're going to edit this file. And under DialogFlow project ID, you need to paste the ID you just copied. So there are two steps we need to do left. We need to get the API key from Chatfuel, and we need to get the bot ID from Chatfuel. So when you go to Chatfuel, you can get the bot ID from the URL. So we can just copy this and paste it with the bot ID, and we need to get our API key. So we can just go to configure, and here you have the broadcasting API token. So when you click on it, it automatically copies to the clipboard, and we can also paste it here, and then we can click on commit changes. So that was all the code we need to edit. So the code is completely right. So the next thing we need to do is put this code on a server. And in order to do this, we're going to use DigitalOcean. So DigitalOcean is a platform where you can host your code directly from GitHub. And in the description, I've put a URL which gives you $100 in credit in the first 60 days, which allows you to host your Chatfuel DialogFlow integration for free in the coming 2 months. And after that, it will only cost you $5 a month. So let's go to chatamize.com/DigitalOcean. And this will automatically go to DigitalOcean. You will get the $100 in credit. And I will just sign in, but you need to sign up, but I already have an account. So once you are logged in, you can just click on create and then click for apps. So then we need to select our source, which will be GitHub. So we need to click on this. We need to authorize DigitalOcean on our GitHub account. So you can just click on install and authorize. And then we need to click on GitHub again. Choose the right repository, which is Chatfuel DialogFlow Integration New. And then we can click on next, and you need to also set the auto deploy code changes. So when you update your code in GitHub, automatically DigitalOcean will take this over, so you don't have to deploy it again. So just set this check and then click on next. Then you need to scroll down and click on next again. And here you need to give a name, so we call this Chatfuel chatbot. And then click on next. And here we need to set our plan, so it will be the basic plan. We will set the basic size to $5 a month, and we will just use one container. And then we are going to click on launch basic app, and now DigitalOcean will create the server for us. And this can take several minutes before the server is created. So as you can see, the integration has deployed successfully, and here we get a URL. So we need to copy this URL, and we need this later on in Chatfuel. So if you go to Chatfuel and you go to automation, choose for blocks, and then choose for the default answer, we're going to set two things. The first thing that we're going to set is a user attribute. So we can click on more and then click on set user attribute. So we need to set language code, and if you haven't have this yet, which I think you don't, you need to create a new user attribute and you need to set it to EN, which stands for the English language, and then we need to set the JSON API. So this is the JSON API, the type needs to be post, and this is the URL we got from DigitalOcean. You need to put that here. And then we need to select the JSON, and then you can enter the request body here. And I will add this code also in the description. What this will do is when the default answer is triggered, so Chatfuel won't recognize the input of the user, it will send a request to DialogFlow. So we're going to test this request, and it gives you a 200 OK. So when it gives you a 200 OK, it means that the integration is working. So this was the hardest part of this tutorial. Now comes the fun part, which is creating the actual chatbot. So let's start by using this integration. So what happens now that every time your chatbot does not understand a phrase, it will ask DialogFlow. And when it matches with a DialogFlow intent, we can automatically respond with a Chatfuel block or a Chatfuel flow. So let's create the response flow in Chatfuel. Let's say we are a pizza company and we want to handle the response if someone says, I want to order a pizza. So we can add a new block here, and we will call this order pizza block. And then we're going to add the tag, awesome, here you can order your pizzas. So that's it, that's really simple. So then if we go to DialogFlow, we can create a new intent, which we will call order.pizza, and we want to add the training phrase, I want to order a pizza, I want a pizza, can I have a pizza? And we will also set the response. So we can just click on add response. We're going to delete this text response, click on add responses, choose for custom payload, and what you then need to add is block, and then we go back to Chatfuel and we need to copy this from the URL. So this is the specific block that we want to respond with. Copy this and paste it over here. So it's really important that you have the parentheses over here, because otherwise, if you don't have the parentheses, it would not work. So when we click on save now, we can test our integration. So when I go to my Messenger chatbot and I say, I want to order a pizza, it should respond with, awesome, here you can order your pizza. So let's check this out. And as you can see, it replies with the good response. So this means that our integration is working. But this is just for handling an intent in DialogFlow. Can we also handle entities? And of course we can. So if we go to DialogFlow, we can create a new entity, which we will call topping, and we will add veggie, ham, and cheese. And then click on save. And if we go to our intent, go to the order pizza intent, we can add a new training phrase. So we can say, can I have a veggie pizza? And then we need to annotate veggie and select topping and then click on save. So now it should understand the entities that we want to use. Then if we go to Chatfuel, we are going to replace this block with a flow, because it's way easier to use the flow builder in Chatfuel than use the block builder. So when we go to flow, we can click on New Messenger Flow, and we are going to rename this to Order Pizza Flow. Then if we go back to the blocks, and we go to the Order Pizza block, we will just remove this and add the redirect to block or flow, and we will set the Order Pizza Flow. And this is one of the drawbacks of using Chatfuel for this, is with Chatfuel we can only send from DialogFlow a specific block. So currently we cannot send a flow. So if you're using this integration and you want to use the flow builder, you should always redirect to a flow. So you need to put here the block type that you can get from the URL, and then from the block you need to redirect to a flow. So that's a little of a drawback, but you can still use it. So when we go to the flow, or the pizza flow, we can add a new element, which will be a condition, and we will set this condition as the starting step. So when you click on this, you can select it as the starting step, so it will start with this. So what this first will do is that it will check what the topping is. So we can set the attribute topping, and the name of this attribute needs to be the same as the name of the entity. So we named the entity as topping, therefore we need to have an attribute called topping. And then we set, if the topping is not set, then we say, awesome, you can order pizzas here. And we are going to do this. But when the topping is set, we can use that topping value. So what we do here is we add another content block, and we say, so you want a topping pizza. So when somebody is saying, I want a veggie pizza, we are going to respond with, so you want a veggie pizza. And if someone says, I just want to order a pizza, then we're going to say, awesome, you can order pizzas here. So let's again go back to DialogFlow. The intent, look whether we saved that correctly, so we can test this out in Messenger. So if I say, I want to order a pizza, it responds with, awesome, you can order pizzas here. But when I say I want to order a veggie pizza, it says, so you want a veggie pizza. So that is also working. That's how we can use entities. But this is only for the English language. What if we want to handle multiple languages? And that is also possible. So when we go to DialogFlow, we can add another language to our agent. So I will add Dutch, which is my native language. And then I will hit save. And then when I go to Dutch, which is NL, and I go to my intents, then I also have the order pizza intent, but I can add a different training phrase. So I can add, ik wil een pizza bestellen, which is Dutch for I want to order a pizza. So when we then go to the Chatfuel dashboard, when we go to automation, go to block, then we will say the order pizza block NL, and we just use a simple text response. Hey, that is the Dutch language. So then we need to copy this, go back to DialogFlow, add a response, remove the text response, set the custom payload to block, and then what we just copied from the URL, click on save. And we also need to edit the default answer. So in the default answer, we're setting the language code, which is currently set to EN, but this is for the English language. So if you want to use the Dutch language or any other language, you need to change this value. So in case of Dutch, we're going to use it to NL, because here in DialogFlow, we also have an NL, and then that's also set. So when I now say, ik wil een pizza bestellen, which is Dutch for I want to order a pizza, it says, hey, that is the Dutch language. So that is also working. And that's how you connect Chatfuel to DialogFlow and use Google's AI in your Chatfuel chatbot. If you're not that familiar with using DialogFlow, I recommend to check out my DialogFlow series, in which I explain every bit of DialogFlow that you can use. And I will also add the link to that playlist in the description. But if you have any questions on how you can use Chatfuel and DialogFlow together, please leave a comment below and I will reply as soon as possible. If you want more videos on how you can use chatbots in your marketing, please subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't done this yet, also click the like button below.